Live look at the weekend 10 women's cancers as the walkers head back out for day 2 of their marathon after spending the night under the dome at the Rogers Center. More from the walk coming up in just a moment. Also, we are live at the annual Bang & Olufsen run in Yorkville this morning, where they're just wrapping things up. Runners are raising funds to help support the Toronto YWCA. 10 o'clock and 16 degrees. Good morning from 299 Queen Street West. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24. I'm Gurdeep Ahluwalia. Well, the biggest names in Hollywood continue to take over the city. It is the opening weekend of the Toronto International Film Festival. Last night, the stars of Dallas Buyers Club graced the red carpet before the film's debut. Stars Matthew McConaughey, Jennifer Garner, and Jared Leto. And it is the story of a Texas electrician and his battle with the medical establishment after being diagnosed as HIV positive in 1986. McConaughey talked about his experience working on the film and what drew him to the role.
It was the character, but it's a character-driven story. Here's a guy with a 7th grade education who was a cowboy, part-time bull rider, gambler, electrician, not really having much going on in life. Couldn't really figure out what his purpose was. And he gets HIV, and for the first time he found real purpose in his life. He found something he could fight for every single day. And he knew that fight he could fight every day until the day he died, which was 7 years longer than the doctors gave him credit for.
Canada's own Jason Reitman debuted his film Labor Day last night at the Ryerson Theatre. The film stars Kate Winslet, Josh Brolin, and James Van Der Beek, and centers around a depressed mother and her son who offer a wounded, fearsome escaped convict a ride and gradually learn his true story. The stars walked the red carpet, and Kate Winslet talked about the emotional journey she went through while making the film.
I think we all felt quite vulnerable, especially Gatlin, who plays Henry. He's such a special, lovely, lovely young man. It was a quite vulnerable making experience, I suppose, because the film is very intimate. It appears to be very gentle in many ways, because it's a pure and simple love story. But obviously, at face value, it is quite complicated because of the circumstances under which these two people meet. He is a man who has just escaped from prison that morning. They meet that afternoon and they spend a Labor Day weekend together and fall in love.
Also, the biopic Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, a film about the former South African president, debuted at Roy Thompson Hall last night. Idris Elba, who stars in the movie, says he believes Mandela's life story is an important one to tell.
Because he's a living legend. This is there's not that many living legends that have created change from a personal point and changed the world. And he has done that and achieved that, and he's still alive. And I think that generations, whether my daughter who's 11 to my dad's generation, should watch this film to be either reminded or taught that everyone can implement change. You can, I can.
And tonight will be filled with big star-studded premieres, including the highly anticipated space thriller Gravity. The film starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, following the story of a romantic couple who are both astronauts working outside a space station orbiting at 600 kilometers above the Earth. The unimaginable happens, and the pair are plunged into crisis, finding themselves in mortal danger with no aid in outer space. And the first of the final 2 film performances by Courtney Monteith will make its world premiere at TIFF today.
I'm the new regional manager. I'd just like to thank you for all your hard work.
Merry Christmas.
All the Wrong Reasons is the debut feature from Canadian writer, director, producer Gia Milani. Monteith plays a department store manager in the film. After shooting wraps on the movie, he told her that he'd actually hidden sunglasses in all of his scenes. Monteith had plans to reveal those locations during the DVD commentary. The Canadian actor was found dead in a Vancouver hotel room in July from a heroin and alcohol overdose. His final film debuts tomorrow at the festival.
Probably.
And that's not the only big film making its debut at TIFF today. Lots of big premieres tonight, including Enemy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Melanie Laurent. The Grand Seduction, starring Toronto's own Don McKellar. Night Moves, starring Dakota Fanning and Jesse Eisenberg. And the pulse-pounding Formula One film Rush, starring Chris Hemsworth. 10:05 and 16 degrees. Time for a check on weather and traffic. And for weather, we're going to send things upstairs to Anika. Elliot, we really haven't warmed up too much since this morning.
I know, exactly. But at least we have all the sunshine. This is more like it when we think about weekend weather. Yesterday was very gloomy. We had all that rain. But today it's a little cooler, but at least we've got sunshine. Let's take a look at what's going on with those temperatures. And yes, haven't really moved too much. We're up to 17 in the downtown core, but still 16 out at Pearson as well as at Toronto Buttonville Airport. Take a look at what it looks like on Doppler 24 radar. Not a whole lot in the way of unsettled weather or rain. We do have a little cloud cover, may be moving in late this evening into the overnight hours, but really right now it is looking quite nice. Clear blue skies out there. Overall, we're getting up to a daytime high of 20 degrees today, and we'll have clear skies through the evening, but as I mentioned, a little cloud cover building in through the overnight hours. But coming up in the full forecast, we'll talk more about when things will feel rather summer-like yet again. Hot, humid conditions coming up in the next little while. I'll talk about that in your 5-day forecast. That's in just a bit.
All right, to check on the roads right now, this camera's at the 401 at Yorkdale Mall, pointed west towards Kiel. No problems in either direction. Things moving along well. The DVP, a bit windy out there. This camera's rattling around. This is a look at Lawrence. Top to bottom, DVP actually moving along pretty well, and we'll finish up here on the Gardiner. This camera's at Bathurst, pointed west. Beautiful sunshine out there, and no problems right now into or out of the city. Here's what else is making news this Sunday morning. It is the second day for the weekend to end women's cancers, and participants are enjoying much drier weather than what we got yesterday. In fact, hundreds stayed together indoors last night. They camped out at the Rogers Centre. Jackie Crandall joins us live now with more on that side of the story. Hey, Jackie.
Hi, good APS. Those walkers enjoying a bit of a break right now. The 8-kilometer mark, there's a pit stop. They're getting some much-needed medical attention from this group in the red T-shirts. They are walking 30 kilometers today to end off an entire weekend, 60 kilometers in total. And I have a group with me right now that is just begging for an interview based on the outfits alone. Karen, yes. You are the spokesperson, I guess, for your sisters anyway.
So they tell me.
What is behind this getup?
I'm a 7-year cancer survivor, and when I decided to take part in this walk, my sisters volunteered to do it with me. So we've been doing this now for 7 years, raised a lot of money. Anyways, this year we decided instead of walking that we would try something different. So we're sweeps, and a sweep is someone that comes and picks up anybody that's dragging behind or has an injury and brings them to the medical tent or just for a rest.
And that is how you met Dave, and then you convinced him, who you just met on Friday, to wear a similar getup. Dave, how you feeling?
Awesome. I've never had more fun. To be perfectly honest, this is the most fun I've had in a long time.
You know, we're hearing from so many people who have various reasons for walking and participating. So many of them have great stories of friendship that come out of this weekend year after year to tell. And now you have one of those similar stories.
Yep, I've just met 3 terrific people, and then you meet everybody along the way as well. It's a terrific experience. If you haven't tried it, you really should.
And you're walking for your girlfriend?
Yes.
Or you're participating for your girlfriend?
Yes, Jennifer. She's a survivor as well, and she's walking for her 7th walk, I think.
A little shout out to Jennifer as well. Thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us. You're probably sweating in those habits right now, or you will be soon. It's going to be a warm day today, probably protecting you from the rain. Dancing later, all right. So another very successful event, $8 million raised by the 3,600 participants in this event this year. Add that dollar figure to the $133 million that has been raised over the last 10 years. A really successful event, and it's, of course, raising important money for cancer care and research at the Princess Margaret Hospital right here in Toronto. Back to you, Gurdeep.
All right, good stuff. Thanks so much. That is Jackie Crandall's right there reporting on the weekend to end women's cancers wrapping up today. Well, one of the city's latest murder victims will be laid to rest today. The funeral will be held for 16-year-old O'Shea Doyle's White later this morning at the Downsview Seventh-day Adventist Church in North York. The teen was gunned down along with his 15-year-old friend at a community housing complex on Grand Ravine Drive. That's in the Jane and Finch area last month. No arrests have been made so far. There have been a number of shootings involving young teenage boys in the same area within the last 6 months. The driver is in custody after an early morning crash. This happened around 2:30.